Well, Brian, I am really, really excited today because we are joined by another new friend, new neighbor who you met at Podcast Movement last year. So
Ah,
my jealousy is just increasing exponentially
I
every
think
single
that
time.
is the whole reason now that I bring it up all the time.
Just to rub it in.
Just to twist the knife. But no, it was great. He was fantastic. I hit it off immediately. Really great guy. I'm so excited to have him.
That's right. He is the author of Thursday is the New Friday, How to Work Fewer Hours, Make More Money, and Spend Time Doing What You Want, which I'm pretty sure is my dream book.
I'm pretty sure that's everybody's. If it's not, it should be.
Absolutely. The book examines how the 4-day work week boosts creativity and productivity, which is, again, my dream come true. I like the idea of a 3-day weekend. He has been featured on Forbes, Good Magazine, the Smart Passive Income podcast. He's the host of his own hit podcast, The Practice of the Practice podcast, which has over 100,000 downloads every month. So he is certainly reaching a wide and varying audience. They have best-selling authors, expert scholars, and business leaders on the show, innovators, and more. I am very, very proud to introduce to our guest and to say hello for the first time for me to Mr. Joe Sanok. Joe, how are you, sir?
how you doing, guys? I'm doing great.
What's going on, Joe? What's going on? That's your 100,000 followers that just followed you here to Neighbors Don't Knock.
Yeah, boom. Look at all those new followers y'all got.
Heck yeah. Thank you for taking the time to sit down with us, Joe. I did pronounce your last name properly, I hope.
Sure.
I love it. He's like, whatever. I was like,
Close
I've been
enough.
called worse.
Yeah. I had a high school track coach that he looked at it and he said, Joe Santos. And there's no T in my name. And
I was just
for all of
checking
high
now.
school,
After
that
you
was
said
my
that, I looked down.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, how did he get?
What?
I was like, what?
So my nickname was Santos, and at an all-white Catholic school, I'm like, how about cultural appropriation there? Like,
Did you get a minority scholarship for
I
school?
know, seriously.
Well, I was Joe Sanok, aka Joe Santos.
Yeah, just call me Jose.
Oh man, that was great.
Terrible.
I mean, you and Brian met at Podcast Movement, just completely geeking out with thousands and thousands of other podcasters from every walk of life. What made you decide to start a podcast?
Yeah, I started listening to Pat Flynn's Smart Passive Income podcast in 2011, and he was the first business person that to me didn't come across as slimy. The only other business experience that I had was selling vacuum cleaners door to door in college. And they taught me how to convince people that lived in a trailer park that they would make money by buying a $2,000 or $3,000 vacuum.
Right.
And I was like, this is not okay.
It's got 3 modes of suck.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the last one is your money.
Yeah. Here's our sales guide. It's called How to Get Over Feeling Filthy.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. And you too can be part of this pyramid scheme. And so it was just
Sponsored by Amway.
I'm not going to name names, but you're getting closer. But so, I mean, I had no business experience. The only business guys I knew in college were all like complete douchebags. And so when it came to business, I just thought it's people that are just these capitalistic pigs and that no one does good business in that world. And so I had my own hangups that, when I first started listening to Pat, it was like, oh, wait, okay, a lot of these preconceived notions don't have to be the way that we do it. And so I first started thinking about my counseling practice that was already going on and realized if I wanted to build passive income through that, it just wouldn't feel appropriate for that audience. Like people are showing up for counseling. If I'm like, no, buy my e-course or, click this link so I can get an affiliate link to this thing. It was like, that doesn't really line up as well as
levels of therapy.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of shooting myself in the foot because if I turn someone off to me because I said, click on this affiliate link or opt into this email when they're ready to give me $150 for 45 minutes of my time, like that's not helping my business grow either. So I knew I'd need a different brand. And I was interested in the business side of it because if I felt scuzzy about business, I'm sure other people did as well in the therapeutic realm. And so I thought, well, what if I just started by doing a podcast and exploring what I felt and what I needed, and then just see where it went. And it took a couple of years before I really made sure that I was doing it at least weekly. But when I reinvested in building the website and doing it weekly, starting in 2014, that's when the numbers just, really took a turn to like much higher numbers.
Okay, so now podcast aside, you have found yourself in a lot of different endeavors. First of all, if you ever decide to do some kind of counseling where it's kind of like, not you know what I'm talking about, the church, we ask for forgiveness.
Confession,
yeah, where it's you just use a digital mask on something. It's like a voice, and you have an alias name, and you come in to do therapy, and so the therapist doesn't even know who you are. just like
the masked singer, except it's the masked client.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that would be so great. I would totally try to do that.
I like it. Speaking of therapy, though, I would like to point out the mental block that you've put up around confession. I mean, we 3 raised Catholics.
That's true.
Right here, and you're going, "What's that thing with the priest?"
Does that tell you how long it's been since I've been to confession? And I'm sure now I'm going to get a phone call from my mother.
Brian
I totally forgot about this. So my friend Paul and I, we were drinking a lot one night, and we came up with this idea of Star Wars characters going to therapy.
Oh, I'm in.
And I bought all these different Star Wars outfits. And so we have, it's on the Practice YouTube channel. So like Darth Vader comes in for therapy, and Paul plays just straight regular therapist. And Darth Vader's talking about how he's been absent from his son's life, and he just told him that he's his father. And then Luke tried to commit suicide by jumping off of the thing. And the therapist is like, "What did you expect? You haven't been in his life." And it was like, "Well, there was some stuff between me and his mother." And and then Luke comes in for therapy, and he's talking about how Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru were just killed, but there's this old guy that wants him to go away with him, and stranger danger.
Yeah,
exactly. It's like he doesn't go by his real name. He goes by Obi-Wan, but his real name's Ben. And it's the therapist is like, "How long have you known this guy?" And he's like, "I don't know. He said he knew my dad." And it's just this whole like, do you trust him?
Yeah, now I have my mind reeling. I'm picturing all the therapy assignments for workshopping at home. It's like, okay, listen, Mr. Vader, this week you're going to work on not throat choking anyone.
Yes. I mean, just think how many different characters that are written into our stories that we watch of all the movies, that if you actually sat them down for therapy, like what actually would come out.
Yeah, if you need help, you send me a hollow at any time. I want to talk about this book.
Yes. And we are talking about the Thursday is the New Friday is the name of the book. So tell us about it, because the title catches me right away, and it should catch everybody.
Yeah. So for me, one of the kind of central things was just understanding, is the work week we've been given, is that solid? Is it something that we just have to do? Are there things in nature that point to that work schedule? Or is it maybe more of a recent manifestation for humanity? And so for me, I dug into the anthropology and the history just around weeks and around work weeks to even just start with, is the way we think it has to be really the way it has to be? It was shocking to find some of that history and to really dig into it. Take the 7-day week, something that we all agree to. Thousands of years ago, the Babylonians, they made up the 7-day week. They just looked up and they saw the sun and the moon, Earth, Mars, Venus, Jupiter, and Mercury. And that's why they have 7 days. The Romans had a 10-day week. The Egyptians had an 8-day week. In the 1800s, the Russians had a 5-day week. So if we just start with the 7-day week's completely made up, we could have had 73 weeks and had a 5-day week. There's nothing in nature that points to 7 days.
And that was really an American thing too, right?
Yeah.
Like it was very limited to
yeah. If you go to Europe, the 40-hour work week is definitely not. I mean, it's very, very different. And not just in Europe, but like almost everywhere except for the US. I find it very interesting / odd that we are so committed to working 40 to 80 hours a week.
Did you come across like a lot of examples of the toughness that comes with working the 40-hour work week? There's such a, by golly, I work every day for 8 hours a day, never fail, Yeah,
there's a whole section in the book where I dig into the Protestant work ethic that we think has been here since early America. It's actually a recent manifestation and was really a bunch of people, some industrialists that wanted to get people to work harder and not question their position in life. And so it's crazy to see how there was economic incentive to lie to the people about what our history was and, who we are as people.
Like public figures lying to us?
I know.
That's unheard of.
For their own economic benefit?
No, this can't be.
Hi, this is Joe Sanok, author of Thursday is the New Friday, and you're listening to Neighbors Don't Knock.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. For more videos and fun, subscribe to the channel. Catch full episodes wherever you get your podcast or go to neighborsdon'tknock.com.